The only one that can punch him in the nose, in my opinion, is the Knicks or those Western teams. What did you think when you saw those odds?
In their path, and it's all about the path, right? Number 1 seed, you should have an easy path, but quite honestly, looking at who they'd have to go through here eventually is kind of laughable. So I get it.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on sport.
Welcome to hour number 2, live right here on this Thursday on the early line on SportsGrid. And what a way to start off this second hour, because alongside myself, Ben Stevens, and Donnie right side, it's maybe the most sought-after man in all of baseball media at this moment. His name, Jack McMullen, of course, doing great work for Just Baseball Media, our friends that put together great content each and every day, but also the play-by-play voice of the Indianapolis Indians, the AAA affiliate of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Jack McMullen has called a couple of outings there in Indy. For one, Paul Skeens, who now makes his Major League Baseball debut on Saturday for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Is this an exclusive that we have Jack McMullen on this Thursday morning?
Man, I mean, is it going to be, hey, I heard this Skeens guy is good. Tell me about him. No, man, like it's funny. A lot of people want to talk about Paul Skeens right now, and understandably so. If you haven't watched him throw, and I know that minor league baseball has kind of made that the free game of the week every time he throws. So a lot of people have already watched him throw, and super thankful that they have, because we've been able to call that. But I mean, if you're watching him for the first time on Saturday and you didn't watch him at LSU, start making popcorn. Like, it is a show, and it's more of a show than really any other pitcher in the game. He's sat 100.4 in an outing. It feels like he's having a bad day when he's sitting 99.7 with his four-seamer. But his ability to mix in a great slider and a really good, like, high-speed splitter at 95, and then a changeup as well that can make people look so stupid because guys are out in front. I mean, I think we may be watching a tremendous career get going on Saturday against the Cubs.
Jack McMullen, a true pro's pro, because I was going to follow up with, hey, is this Paul Skeens guy any good, as he advised me to, but he just answered the question right off the bat. Of course, Paul Skeens, the number 1 overall pick this past July in the 2023 Major League Baseball draft. He is set to make his MLB debut in the bigs on Saturday against the Cubs for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Jack, let's spin it around the rest of Major League Baseball from yesterday. The hottest team entering Wednesday's slate in all of the bigs, that was Philadelphia. They had won 7 straight games, but all good things must come to a close at some point. That 7-game win streak snapped by the Toronto Blue Jays yesterday in Philadelphia. Hey, it's a long season. You're not going to win each and every single day, but when you look at what Philly has done in the 7-game win streak, really here in the last 2 to 3 weeks, just how good is this Phil's team at the moment?
They're ridiculous. They're playing like one of the better teams in all of baseball, if not the best team in all of baseball. And the teams that can contend with them right now are Atlanta, the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Orioles at this point. Yeah. And the thing is, like, you can poke holes in all of those teams right now. For the Yankees, Aaron Judge got off to a really slow start. He was starting to heat up a little bit, but you know what? It's still kind of slow out of the gates. For the Dodgers, like, is their pitching all the way right? Yoshinobu Yamamoto has kind of struggled at points. Glasnow has been awesome. Buehler is back. That's great. But, 7 through 9 were not performing for the first couple weeks of the season there. They're starting to heat up now. Atlanta, we just saw Atlanta lose 2 or 3 to the Dodgers, maybe even a sweep.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on what happened on Sunday, but each team has a hole to poke in it except for Philly right now. What's the hole? Nick Castellanos is struggling. It's okay. You got 8 other guys in that lineup, and all 8 are hitting the crap out of the ball right now, man. Like, Trey Turner is hitting 340. Alec Boehm is hitting 340 with an OPS in the mid 950s. Like, they are so sound offensively, not to mention they have one of the 3 or 4 best starting rotation ERAs in all of baseball. Wheeler has looked like the part. He has looked like the best arm in the game. Ranger Suarez looks like the best lefty in baseball right now. I think it's Tarek Skubal in Detroit, but Suarez is right there at the moment. And, dude, Nola, we know, is going to eat innings. Spencer Turnbull had a great start to the year for him. Christopher Sanchez, Taijuan Walker. The list goes on. The Phillies are a wagon right now.
I love it. Love that term, wagon, here. And also, you take a look at that pitching staff. You put it into numbers here. The best xFIP in baseball at 3.31 through 340 innings. And also, Ben's favorite statistic here, Jack, a 7.2 WAR for the Phillies pitching staff, by far the best in Major League Baseball. Now, as we digress from one of the better teams in baseball right now, the Philadelphia Phillies, one of the better teams in baseball over the past decade or so, the Houston Astros. They get hammered again in the Bronx yesterday, Jack, 9-4. They dropped to 12-24. When is it going to be too late to say, well, the Astros sooner or later better get it together? Is the time now?
We're getting there. I don't know. If we're not there right now, it's in the next week or two. Donnie, let me ask a follow-up real quick. Do you like the lowercase x stats? As a guy that covers baseball full-time, I'm not a big fan of the lowercase x stats.
Come on, get with it. Get with it. We'll get you the tattoo on your arm. We'll live it. We'll breathe it. We'll love it.
Got you. All right. Yeah. Small font, like size 6, size 7 font, just an X, and we'll go forward with that. The Astros are an interesting case because you're not going to point to Jose Altuve and Kyle Tucker and say, you need to do more. They're already doing like everything that they've been asked to do. The only guy that is kind of underperforming, not named Alex Bregman. Bregman's been off to a brutal start in a contract year, which I was not expecting in the slightest. The only guy in that lineup that has not performed to really elevated standards is Yordan Alvarez. And at the end of the day, Alvarez is still hitting the ball out of the ballpark. He still has an OPS just above the league average, and we know that's going to go up. The problem is the bullpen and the starting rotation. Starting rotation health has been an issue. And in 2022, when they looked the part as the best team in baseball, they were not getting hurt on the mound. They had, I think, 6 guys make starts for them that year, maybe 7 guys make starts. That is an egregiously low number. That is excellent health luck in the starting rotation. Now they've needed to rely on a guy like Spencer Arrighetti, who's got an ERA over 8. And they have needed to rely on a guy named Hunter Brown, who, like, I was hoping would have a mid-3s ERA at this point, and he's sitting in the 9s right now. So it's great that Verlander's back. It's great that Framber Valdez, it was just a minor hiccup with his arm. But at the end of the day, we looked at this team saying, oh, Abreu, Hader, Presley are going to shut the door in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. They're doing anything but that right now. They've got one of the worst bullpens in baseball. So the team that came in with the best bullpen in baseball on paper being one of the worst is not a recipe for success in the slightest.
So, Jack, when you look at Houston at the moment, concern level somewhere between 1 to 10, what would you say that number is right now?
Oh, man. We played this game on the Just Baseball show last week. My co-host Peter said 0 or 1. I said 4. And then my other co-host Aram said like 6. I think I'm with Aram now. I'd say 6. The Astros are really good. Like, they've got great players. But at the end of the day, we're about a quarter of the way home here already. So, like, at some point, you have to snap it into high gear. And, you know, like, when do you run out of time? We say, oh, baseball's a long season. Yeah, 3, and then we're at the All-Star break, and it becomes a very short season if you've got a lot of ground up. So it's hard to look at a team that is like sleepwalking, I guess, through the front part of the season and saying like, yeah, but they're going to kick it here. I like it. We'll see what happens. I think this month is massive, and I think it will tell us all we need to know about the Houston Astros.
A plus 148 number for the Astros at this moment to even see the American League postseason. If you were to buy in on a price, might that be it? We shall see. Quickly here, Jack. On the National League MVP race, it seems to be a battle between Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani. If you had to bet it, who's your favorite at the moment?
One of them's a DH. One of them is not a DH. That is kind of the easy separator for me. And I know that the writers that vote on this do take that into account. But at the end of the day, if Shohei Ohtani makes them the best team in baseball, then let's actually think about the definition of most valuable player. Like Ohtani is most outstanding, but we need most valuable as well.
Back on the early line up next.
The only one that can punch him in the nose, in my opinion, is the Knicks or those Western teams. What did you think when you saw those odds?
In their path, and it's all about the path, right? Number one seed, you should have an easy path, but quite honestly, looking at who they'd have to go through here eventually is kind of laughable. So I get it.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
From a very noteworthy guest in Jack McMullen, with Paul Skeens making his debut on Saturday, to now one who's just kind of here. Our sports professor, Rick Horrow, joins us live on this Thursday on the early line. Hey, Rick.
Are you happy with yourself? Was that really good? I'm gonna call myself JKH.
Donnie, that was pretty good, right? Donnie, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Always downplay the guest. Always downplay the guest, correct.
Don't ask him for support. He'll always get it. My new nickname is JKH. Just kind of here. Very well done.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, JKH, we're glad to have you. But no, we really do appreciate your insight, Rick. I really do mean that. You are the sports professor here to drop some knowledge, and maybe we need some when it comes to the ongoing scandal that is Ippei Mizuhara, the former now translator for Shohei Ohtani, and his interpreter. Yesterday, he pleads guilty to bank and tax fraud. Is this the end, Rick, of this story, or does it continue from here?
I will say this. It was one of the quickest guilty pleas maybe in the history of the world. And there's a lot of lawyers on all sides that wanted him to plead guilty, get locked up, go away, and never be seen again. I will say this, that the investigations had reached the FBI and others, and so far, Ohtani's hands are incredibly clean in a situation where they could very well have not been. I guarantee you, not just TMZ, but everybody's looking for that smoking gun, and so far we haven't seen it.
Rick, what type of sentence are we looking at here for him? And also, I know when you're dealing with financials here, restitution. Now, granted, I don't know if he's going to have the ability to pay back in excess of $20 million, but what actually happens in the legal process for here on out?
I was going to talk about his bad haircut and that he won't have any anymore because he won't be able to afford it. But I'm not going to do that. No, we're not doing that on the air. So restitution, yeah, restitution for a guy that basically embezzled or now pleads guilty to it. All of that money, he has nothing. So there will be an opportunity to put him away for a long time. The long time will be, I'm guessing, 7 to 10 years, maybe even longer. There's an opportunity for parole under those circumstances. But this is one of those things where baseball wants to move on just as quickly as they possibly can.
Rick Horrow making fun of somebody's haircut, not what I imagined on my Thursday morning. But, Rick, now we go from this off-the-field drama in Major League Baseball to the NBA playoff bracket. 8 teams still standing now into the conference semifinals. Some teams are up 2 games to none, like the Minnesota Timberwolves and the New York Knicks. But really, when you look at the playoff bracket overall, Rick, we've lost a lot of superstars that we have known. LeBron James is out. The super team in Phoenix, they are gone. No Giannis or the Bucks or Joel Embiid in Philadelphia any further. What is the NBA saying about any potential finals matchups if they include the young and up-and-coming teams like Minnesota and Oklahoma City?
Yeah, so here's what I'm saying. The NBA is not ever going to say, although this is always a standard pundit question to ask anybody, would you prefer this matchup or that matchup? And they'll never tell you. But the bottom line is it's the stories. It's not necessarily the markets. So, the Knicks, a pretty good story when you think about it. The Philadelphia story, not good because they're bad and they're stuck. Phoenix, they're terrible and they're stuck. But then Oklahoma City, what a great story. I talked to those people. I'm going to go to the finals if it's there. And they're young, they're not stuck, and they're an incredible story. Minnesota finally breaking through, an incredible story. Denver's not done yet. So I guess my point is that as the NBA transforms from the LeBron James, Embiid superstardom to the young teams that have a chance to make a difference, that's a story also. And I think those ratings will reflect that.
From the NBA to the WNBA, and ratings are expected here, maybe the Caitlin Clark effect. How about this? Charter flights now in the WNBA costing an estimated $25 million per year. Does this mean that we are on the verge of getting a lucrative deal for the WNBA in telecast rights?
It means a couple things. It means that. It also means that the Caitlin Clark impact has a lot more than just an increase in the 10% revenue sharing negotiations, which will happen pretty soon. And it also means in the indirect benefits. I mean, this helps every player in the league, but I'm sure it was driven by the fact that even first class, Caitlin Clark, her celebrity now demands something better than commercial transportation, some would say. And frankly, I would rather be a crowd next to Caitlin Clark in a commercial airliner than Joel Embiid or anybody else in terms of wanting to talk and interesting and crowd development. So the bottom line is the WNBA has an opportunity here to really ramp it up, and I think they're going to do it sooner than later.
It is worth the investment. Charter flights now in the W should have happened a long time ago, but glad they are starting to be rolled out here in the 2024 season that starts on Tuesday, less than a week away. Rick, as we get ready for the NFL schedule release this upcoming Wednesday, we'll start to get those dates trickling out. And our guy, Boomer Esiason, frequent guest of this show, saying on his radio show on WFAN, he wouldn't be surprised if in the near future the NFL sells its Christmas Day games to Netflix. Quote, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Is Boomer right or wrong?
I think he's probably right. And part of the reason why this is because you see that the NFL is reshaping NFL Network. Melissa Stark, Andrew Siciliano, buddies gone. And at the end of the day, this is going to be one of those things where the NFL looks at how to deal with storytelling. Is it ESPN? Is it Netflix? And the NFL looks at Netflix for a lot of stuff, including this.
Rick, you want to go? You can't finish it out right now.
Yeah.
I thought you were just going to take it. I didn't know why you stopped so short.
Here's why I stopped, because I figured you had another question that you could at least ask. So, all right, here's my question: how are the Panthers? What about the NHL? Well, the answer is, guys, it's an amazing series. Home ice means very little in this series. I was at both of those games, and frankly, I'm waiting for a Boston and a Florida Game 7, and then what a great series that follows. Gary Bettman should be very happy. The ratings will be very good. And again, he succeeds with the value of the teams continuing to increase. But if you want to know more about any of this, you continue with these guys. You go forward. I love it. You love it. They love it. See you in a minute.
The only one that can punch him in the nose, in my opinion, is the Knicks or those Western teams. What did you think when you saw those odds?
In their path, and it's all about the path, right? Number 1 seed, you should have an easy path, but quite honestly, looking at who they'd have to go through here eventually is kind of laughable. So I get it.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Today starts a signature event on the PGA Tour that elevated status for the Wells Fargo Championship in Charlotte. Quail Hollow Golf Club, one of the best venues you will see all year long out on tour. Exactly 1 week from right now, we'll start the second major championship of the year in Kentucky, outside of Louisville at Valhalla. It's the 2024 PGA Championship. An early look here with the early lines for the 2024 PGA Championship. DRS, did you know we'd be taking a week out look at those odds?
Fantastic. Got it up. I'm locked and loaded. I'm ready for this one. And also, if we are doing odds and ranking in order for me on the 4 majors on the golf tour, the PGA Championship always has ranked 4th for me. But also, they've moved up a little bit here because it used to be the final major of the season was the PGA.
Right.
So I guess people weren't paying much attention. But here we are. It's a classic golf course that they're going to play on. But I just wanted to give my rankings as the PGA as number 4 by a wide mile. How about that?
I mean, for sure. Listen, the PGA Championship just does not have the luster of the U.S. Open, our nation's championship, or the Open Championship, the longest-running major title. It doesn't. And Donnie's right. It used to be the fourth and final of the summer, midway through August. A few years ago, they reincorporated things, now maybe close to a decade ago, probably about 8, to incorporate Olympic golf, because, of course, that will come our way later in July out in Paris as well. So, as we look at the PGA Championship, one thing should stand out, of course, that is Scottie Scheffler. He is the favorite of this field. He was the winner at Augusta to win his second green jacket in his last 3 years, and he has continued to stay red hot since that moment. By far the best player in golf, by far the number one player in all of the world, and you can see that represented in the odds, a plus 410 number, nearly $7 shorter than anybody else. That's Rory McIlroy with the second best price at 11-1. But I will make this final distinction, DRS. Scottie Scheffler not in the field this week in Charlotte at Quail Hollow for the Wells Fargo, as his wife Meredith is giving birth to their first child, the long-awaited birth of Scottie's first kid.
So the kid is here, is what you're telling me? Like, is the kid here or not here yet? All right.
I believe the kid is here. Yeah.
No, we don't have confirmation yet. See, that's going to be tough because the one thing that we all know is dad's strength kicks in here. So as we get that, but it is interesting to me where you had a guy that was absolutely red hot, takes a couple weeks off here, returning back to competition, and no chance to get the feet wet here. I'm like, hey, let me just play on a different type of event. You're going right into a major championship. It looks like here at the FanDuel Sportsbook, we're not worried about any major championships or any golf courses, and Scottie Scheffler is certainly the prohibitive favorite at that plus 410 price. I always love majors. Why? Because you get the best of the best out there. And obviously the leaderboards will dictate, but the odds leaderboard is sensational just to start. And you're getting some big numbers across the board for some very good golfers at the expense of Scottie Scheffler, because if somebody's a plus 410, that means everybody has to be bumped back here. And you're right, starting at Rory McIlroy with an 11-1 price here, those are fantastic numbers. The problem is, can you beat that cyborg Scottie Scheffler when he gets on the course?
Okay, so I thought the baby was here, or at least that Meredith Scheffler had gone into labor. There was a report from the PGA Tour earlier this week. This is the official PGA Tour Twitter account. Scottie Scheffler will miss this week's Wells Fargo Championship as he and Meredith await the birth of their first child. So we're not confirmed, I guess,
the guy's been waiting since COVID to have this kid. I mean, what are we waiting on here? Let's get back. We want to win. You ever watch Rocky, the highlights here? All I want you to do is win. Yeah, the baby's born. We get out there. We start training again. We win stuff. Come on, Scotty. Don't delay it any longer.
I mean, it was the storyline at Augusta. The only thing that can stop Scottie Scheffler from his second green jacket was the birth of his first child. And now here we are nearly a month later where this is going to...
Spicy food. Come on. You know
any
what I mean?
other tips?
There's ways we can do
Any
this.
other tips from the father down your right side?
A C-section? I don't know. How can we plan this thing to get this guy out on the golf course? There's many options out here that we can use. But the one thing I know, I've been hearing for months, it seems like, we're waiting on this kid. Get this kid out in the world. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know how exactly you induce labor, but Donnie will have the answer for you on the money line at 2 p.m. Eastern time on SportsGrid Radio just a little bit later on. Rory McIlroy, by the way. That's good. Man, this PGA Championship preview segment really got off the rails. Rory McIlroy, by the way, is the favorite to win the Wells Fargo this week at plus 650. I believe his last major was at Valhalla 10 years ago, the PGA Championship, but we'll confirm that as well. Around the association, up next.
The only one that can punch him in the nose, in my opinion, is the Knicks or those Western teams. What did you think when you saw those odds?
In their path, and it's all about the path, right? Number one seed, you should have an easy path, but quite honestly, looking at who they'd have to go through here eventually is kind of laughable. So I get it.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Around the association we go, live right here on this Thursday morning on the early line on SportsGrid. Looking back on the single game that we had last night in the NBA postseason before we preview each of the two that we have in this doubleheader on a Thursday night. Of course, DRS, one of the stories of game number one inside Madison Square Garden between the Knicks and the Pacers wasn't another sensational performance by Jalen Brunson, but that being overshadowed by a controversial final minute with the refs missing call after call that did not work in the favor of Indiana. So Rick Carlisle was already a little bit PO'd with the officiating. And then last night, he was not happy. He gets ejected late in the fourth quarter. He carried over some of that frustration into his post-game press conference.
I'm always talking to our guys about not making it about the officials. But we deserve a fair shot, and it's just not, there's not a consistent balance, and that's disappointing. So, give New York credit for the physicality that they're playing with. But their physicality is rewarded and ours is penalized.
Maybe those home calls will flip as we go to Indianapolis tomorrow night for game number 3. Donnie, before we get your reaction, just an update to this story. Brian Windhorst of ESPN reporting early this morning. Overnight, the Pacers filed 49 calls. 49 they felt were incorrect from game 2 to the NBA office, according to a league source. And they sent in the 29 missed calls from game number 1 they'd previously withheld as well, for a total of what Indiana feels is 78 missed calls over the first 2 games inside MSG.
I mean, 2 things here. Did the reporters actually stay awake for that 1-minute question and answer here session for Rick Horrow? I mean, come on, man. Have a little bit more passion out there. If you could get some more fines there. But also, this is the equivalent of what? Angel Hernandez refereeing an NBA game where you're missing all of these calls? Why aren't we talking about robo-referees here to get these calls right? Can you imagine that? Like, hey, by the way, I sent the tape in. Every single time we had the basketball, an incorrect, official was not making a call at this point. That's ridiculous, because you can do this in every single sport, in every single game. The only ones we care about are the egregious ones. We know it's the playoffs. You're going to be able to get away with more. You just don't want to see it in the final minute of the game where you have an egregious call go against. But I do find it fun. It's like, hey, by the way, in game number 2, if you would have called 49 plays correctly, we would have had 197 points and beat the Knicks by 100. Is that what he's saying at this point?
I think the volume is the statement, right? It was so bad all game long. Look how terrible you guys were inside Madison Square Garden. This cannot continue in terms of officiating back in Indianapolis starting tomorrow night in game number 3. Some of that New York bias inside their own home arena, inside MSG, maybe to blame. Listen, game number 1 was egregious, and a lot of the focus on that final minute in a tightly contested opener between the Pacers and the Knicks. The incorrect, as was reported in the 2-minute report, which again I think is one of the dumbest things the NBA has ever done and continues to do, that kickball on Aaron Nesmith that was not a kickball whatsoever and did not even hit his foot in any shape or form. And then the egregious missed illegal screen, or called illegal screen, I should say, on Miles Turner in the final 15 seconds that was rewarded with the offensive foul going the other way. Those 2 calls were terrible. I think the 49 from game 2 is just to make that point and statement with the emphasis of you guys have been abysmal. Give us something.
Yeah. No, and rightfully so. You want to set the tone. Now, we saw that in the Sixers series with the Knicks, where game number 3 came up. You got some of the benefits of the doubts here with the whistles, Joel Embiid getting to the free throw line. That's what you want. You don't necessarily want those corrections. You just want to put that in. And again, we're human beings. Same thing with the referees. They know coming in, and the NBA knows it. One side is steaming mad and, quite frankly, has a reason to do that. You want to sort of acquiesce as you move forward and say, okay, look, we're not going to just call random things in your favor, but in the biggest moment, if there is a charge block call, you know who's probably going to get that go the direction? That's the Indiana Pacers at this point. That's all you're just trying to set the tone for game 3, going like, look, we don't need a role reversal. Just in some of these close calls, get it our way once in a while.
6.5-point spread in favor of the Pacers as they head back to the Gainbridge Fieldhouse tomorrow night in Indy. That's not because the refs are anticipating calling more things in favor of Indiana. It's because of the uncertain injury status now for the New York Knicks, who are already shorthanded this postseason and now even more banged up. OG Anunoby leaving the third quarter early last night with what the Knicks are calling a left hamstring soreness. Will he return? Dr. Donnie says no, that he will probably not, at least for game number 3. Jalen Brunson did not score 40 for the first time in this series and snapping a 4-game streak of scoring at least 40 because he missed the entirety of the second quarter and still ended with 29 points with what the Knicks are calling a sore right foot. How concerned are you, DRS, for the Knickerbockers the rest of the way, having their superstars already shorthanded, now dealing with those nagging injuries here in the playoffs?
I'm not necessarily concerned here because I have the same sort of vibes that I had the last series for the Knicks. Once they went up 2-0, I'm like, yeah, the Sixers can get back into this. But again, you got to win 4 out of 5 games. That's usually not going to happen against a quality opponent as in the Knicks. So I do think the Knicks have won this series. However, I already told you, if you're taking a look at those price points here, I think it goes 7 now. I honestly do. That plus 200 price on it going 7 games makes some sense. And then also the plus 2.5 games on the Pacers. It's hard to come back and win the series, but I do think they can make it a longer series. And it's not because we're watching going, okay, well, blowout game 1, blowout game 2, now some injuries for the Knicks, they're in trouble. No, you saw the Pacers for the majority of the game in both of these games be the better team. They just didn't win at the end, which again means you're probably not going to win the series. But games 3 and 4 now, as we flip it back to Indiana, I do believe they can win both of these games and send it back. It's hard to win on the road in the NBA. You should be able to have a game 5 advantage regardless of injury, as long as it's not Brunson there at home in Madison Square Garden. Game number 7, the same exact thing. I think we go 7 in this series, and I do think the Knicks win. But if we weren't talking about any injuries, we're probably talking about a gentleman's sweep at this point. But I actually think it goes 7 games now because I don't anticipate OG Anunoby coming back. And as we said, Mitchell Robinson already down, and now that sore foot injury. That doesn't just get better by continuing to play on it. Let's see what happens in game number 3.
Indiana has been and will be more than likely by the time we get to tomorrow night at least a 6-point favorite in all 3 of their home games so far, and we expect that to be the case tomorrow. And they have covered in 2 of the 3, the only one so far they didn't. Game number 3 in their first round set against Milwaukee that went to overtime, a Tyrese Halliburton dandy at the end. Donnie, back to the series odds, because I do think that tells the tale. New York entered last night up 1-0, 4.5-point, 5-point favorite for game number 2, a minus 420 series outright favorite. They take a 2-0 series lead and cover. You would expect that number to be closer to minus 550, minus 600. It is not. It only moves 50 cents in favor of the Knickerbockers because of the injury status around New York. For comparison, Minnesota did win both of their games on the road, but the T-Wolves up 2-0 over the Nuggets, minus 750. A large disparity in those odds, and Donnie said it there. I bet it early this morning. I think it makes a ton of sense for the Pacers at plus 2.5 in the series spread at minus 144 in terms of the juice, because if Indiana gets this series to a sixth game, you cash that ticket.
And how about this, too? Take a look at that game, which is going to be played tomorrow night. The Pacers opened up overnight as 4.5-point favorites at FanDuel. That now sits live at minus 7. So that could be an indicator of maybe getting some thought process here on what we expect out of Brunson in game number 3, and also how long Anunoby is going to be out. That is a massive number now, swinging back over to the Pacers.
Massive. 223.5 is the total. Both games to open this series have flied over. Both Indiana and New York have gone over in 6 of their 8 playoff games. A doubleheader of NBA playoff action next.
The only one that can punch him in the nose, in my opinion, is the Knicks or those Western teams. What did you think when you saw those odds?
In their path, and it's all about the path, right? Number 1 seed, you should have an easy path, but quite honestly, looking at who they'd have to go through here eventually is kind of laughable. So I get it.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage Late
Sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
After only 1 game in the association on a Wednesday night of NBA postseason action, we get 2, a doubleheader on this Thursday. And we start with the nightcap in Oklahoma City, the game we consider to be more compelling into game number 2 of these second-round sets. Both of the 1 seeds in action tonight. OKC out in the Western Conference, that top overall team, hosting the Dallas Mavericks in game number 2. In game 1, OKC won by 22 points and easily covered as a 3.5-point home favorite. As Donnie correctly predicted, and as Donnie has been saying, put some respect on the name of the Thunder. Now a 5-point number for game number 2 against Dallas tonight.
And also, I'm going to put some respect on their name once again and say, I don't even care what the point spread is tonight. We're taking OKC. Yesterday, there were some 4.5s floating around, just about all gone today. And you see at the FanDuel Sportsbook, a minus 5-point favorite here for OKC in a total that's at 218.5. What's going to change from game one to game number two? Because the one thing that I always like to point out is typically when guys are playing banged up and injured, unless you're taking a week or two off or missing games, it's never going to heal itself. Luka Doncic is basically needed for 48 minutes a game from Dallas, but it's clear he's just not moving as well as he was during the regular season. That is a big problem. And also, you know what's the problem? Having the number one overall seed gaining momentum as they go, as if they needed it here with 5 straight playoff victories and again coming back on their home court. I don't look at this game and say, well, look at the Boston Celtics laying 13.5. Hey, can the Cavs stay within it? Sure, they can stay within that number and still get basically blown out of that game. You can't have that for the Thunder game. And also, I'm not talking about maybe the Dallas Mavericks just getting run from start to finish. The better team is OKC. So if you're looking at that number of 5 points and think they're going to win, they're probably going to win once again by double digits. What's stopping them? What is giving us the notion right now that OKC isn't just a better team than the Mavericks? Because even though 5 points, yes, they are a favorite, they're a much better team than this. I look for them to win and get the cover once again tonight in my mind, Ben.
I still think the notion of what is stopping us is this is the first playoff run for this young core in Oklahoma City. And at a certain point, the burden of lack of experience is going to catch up with them. I don't think so. We'll talk about Dallas on the other side in just a moment. OKC, to start off this postseason, has won 5 straight games. Their toughest test was in game number 1 against New Orleans, back and forth in the second half. They win by 2, do not cover as a 9-point home favorite. In the 4 recent wins for OKC, they have covered in every one. They have also gone under in 4 of the 5. And, Donnie, when you look at tonight's total, 218 and a hook, often we will see some market manipulation game from game based on the results of that prior contest. Game number 1's total was 218 and a half, and it stays under because Dallas fails to get to the century mark. This total, though, remains the exact same entering game 2 tonight, 218 and a hook, and there's a little bit more juice on the over than the under.
And by the way, this opening line here was at 220.5 for the total in this game. So the sports books thinking that the betting public generally thinking this game is going to go over because Dallas typically does. But the question marks start to come in the same way I'm having these marks. I don't know where to go with that 218.5 that sits right now at the FanDuel Sportsbook, because if you're going to tell me again, hey, watch the first quarter. Yep, Luka looks really slow. That doesn't help going over the total. If you can tell me now, Luka does a pregame press conference, hey, man, look, got some new stuff on my knee here, got that nice little treatment on it. I'm ready to go. I feel great. I should be able to play a full game. Then, yeah, I would actually like that 218.5. But I think we're going to get more of the same of what we saw in game number 1. And also keep in mind the mentality of some of these teams. We understand you can't really go down 0-2. But sometimes when you're on the road and banged up, hey, look, let's see if we can survive game number 2. If we win, fantastic. But if not, we can always reset, get back to our home court, try to even it up before we come back to OKC. That's the sort of the mentality that I'm looking at for this. And also knowing OKC is not going to say, hey, man, Ben, that was such a great victory in game number 1. It's okay if we lose 2 and be 1-1 because we're not used to being in this situation. Nonsense. They're 5-0. They should win again on their home court tonight. But getting back to that total, I don't know if I have a great read on it because that read could just come from, wow, Luka drops his first 2 3-point shots, which he's been ice cold from the 3-point line. Something as simple as that to get this team going for the Mavericks. That's what it's going to take to get over that total.
Think it could be a great live betting opportunity to see what that pace looks like, to see how Luka Doncic and Dallas come out tonight inspired in game number 2. I also would say if we don't get the blowout, and it stays around that 5-point number between Oklahoma City and Dallas tonight, you're expecting both teams to score at least 105 points or so. OKC has not allowed a team to score more than 95 against them so far in these 5 playoff games. Part of that because New Orleans, without Zion Williamson fully healthy, was not great in the opening round, but even Dallas in game number 1, shooting less than 35% from the floor and scoring just 95, but you would expect that positive regression tonight, and you would expect it out of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie scored 20 in game number 1, but under his points prop of 24.5. That has dropped by a point. Luka's number entering the opening game of this series, 32.5, now 30 and a hook after a 19-point performance in game number 1. And Luka has not been good from three here in the recent 4 games for Dallas.
Yeah, and also you take a look at that SGA prop number. He's not allowed to score 33 points, and he's not allowed to score less than 27 and a half. So we always factor right in that spot. It's hard to gauge Luka Doncic because the same way we're taking a look at Brunson, like, wait a second, Ben, 37 and a half points, that's ridiculous. Do you know what it took yesterday, as I talked about jokingly? I don't know, maybe an injury could cost him. Like, he even came back from that game, but if you miss an entire quarter, you can't get that here. So if Luka Doncic is slowed a little bit in this game, I'm not really digging his 31 and a half. So it's another one, which the great part about the FanDuel Sportsbook is you can watch this game live like, hey, man, Luka's moving around well. Let me go over that 31 and a half live price point. That's the way I'll be approaching this game. But from my side betting perspective, not going to change on OKC. I think they're the better team from a total perspective in this game. Really up in the air again on what we're getting out of Luka for that 218 and a half to go over there. But there are some pretty good price points here. Maybe it's a Kyrie Irving night, recognizing, you know what? I got to go off tonight. If Luka's not healthy, I got to be the guy that's healthy right off the bat and knocking down my shots.
As we shared yesterday, Luka Doncic in the last 4 games for the Mavericks, just 5 of 35 from deep. But not because he is not taking the three. At least 8 attempted three-pointers in all 7 playoff games for Dallas. His 3-point prop is 3.5 tonight. Again, we'll continue to preview that game into our 3rd hour, but we go to the first game of the 2 tonight in Boston between the Celtics and the Cavs next.
The only one that can punch him in the nose, in my opinion, is the Knicks or those Western teams. What did you think when you saw those odds?
In their path, and it's all about the path, right? Number 1 seed, you should have an easy path, but quite honestly, looking at who they'd have to go through here eventually is kind of laughable. So I get it.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage Late
Sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live right here on this Thursday, a doubleheader Thursday in NBA playoff action. The opening game of the night is in Boston between the Celtics and the Cavaliers. And if the game follows what we saw in the opening game of this series or what the odds makers expect, it's going to be over early tonight inside TD Garden and maybe over early in the entirety of this Eastern Conference semifinal series. A 13.5-point spread now in favor of the C's. The total at 212 and a hook. Donnie, we're begging for competition. Will this game be closer than the odds makers expect in game number 2 tonight?
I mean, I don't see why it actually would be at this point, but you're also taking a look at a playoff team getting 2 touchdowns here and say, can you at least hang around?
Yeah,
like, you're supposed to give me at least a spirited effort, but it feels like one of those games, again, that's 5-point lead at the first quarter, 10 at the break, 15 in the third, 20 by the time it's all said and done, because the Cavaliers just don't have enough scoring. And we even saw a game where Donovan Mitchell had a very good offensive output, and they still didn't come close. So what happens when he doesn't have a great offensive output? Who is the guy that's going to be able to step up? And it doesn't look like it's going to be Jared Allen coming back. Just reading the latest reports where he's barely being able to raise his hand above his head due to excruciating pain. Doesn't sound like a guy that's willing to get back on the low blocks and grab double-digit rebounds and keep his team in a basketball game. The 212.5, I do think makes some sense still to go over, because the Boston Celtics, you could probably pencil them in for 115 plus. So if you do the math, you just need the Cavaliers once again to get around 100 points to have a legitimate chance, which I think happens here. Put it this way, there's more likely this game goes over for me than the Cleveland Cavaliers actually get a cover, which is wild saying that at a 13.5-point spread at FanDuel this morning.
212.5 is that total. Game one's number was 211 and a hook, and it goes over because Boston scored 120. Both Donnie and I had the right thought for game number one in terms of our favorite totals. Donnie liked it over. I liked the Cavs under their team total of 98 and a hook, and both did hit. Cleveland has not scored more than 96 points on the road in any of their 4 road playoff games so far in this postseason. But to echo Donnie's point, if Cleveland keeps this within 2 touchdowns, Donovan Mitchell is the reason why. His points prop is 29.5. He scored 33 in game number 1 to lead all scorers. He scored 50 in game number 6 against Orlando and 39 at home in game number 7. He seems to be the only thing that Cleveland has going for them. So again, if you think the Cavaliers even flirt with a cover tonight, Donovan Mitchell is the reason why. His points prop 29 and a hook. It is the highest in this game number 2 tonight inside TD Garden.
Yeah, he's got to be the Brunson here of the Cleveland Cavaliers, which I don't mean automatically means you're going to drop 40 points. It just means you better have 25-plus shots, because who else is shooting the basketball for Cleveland at this point? So a 3-point prop also comes into play for me for Donovan Mitchell, because quite frankly, I say it again, if they're going to stay within side of 13.5 points, it's not because Donovan Mitchell had 19 points and 7 assists here. It's because he probably had 39 points here. So the correlation is you can have a big game out of your best player and still not get the cover. So why not just take the big player in the big game? Because if he does play well, you can win and cover. But if he doesn't, you can still score 35-plus points here and still get hammered by 20 points like it was game number 1.
Donovan Mitchell, 4 of 11 from deep in that first game against Boston. His 3-point prop, 3.5. The volume is certainly there, and the over has some plus money. Can Max Strus wake up? 3+ threes for him, plus 220. That's slightly intriguing. Plus money to the over for Derek White's 3-point prop as well at 3.5. He hit 7 threes in game number 1. Game 4 against Miami, he hit 8 threes, and then he had 5 in game number 5. The 3-point shot has been big for Boston. They made 18 in game number 1. Wasn't all that efficient because it was less than 40% as a team from deep, but still 18 made threes. So a couple of 3-point props could be intriguing for the Celtics tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You take a look at Jaylen Brown, who had a good night, too. He's now listed at over 2.5 at a minus 102 price. But the guys you always want to like Derek White, 3.5 at plus 120. It feels like a steal because he's the type of guy that's going to get those extra minutes. But also, if he knocks down his first 3-point shot, you know, at least 5 more coming behind that. I do think Derek White at a 3.5 number does make some sense. But also, as we talked about, the Donovan Mitchell, over 3.5 at a plus 134, really shading that, saying, ooh, do you buy in? Can he make 4 more? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Donovan Mitchell's probably going to shoot 10 3-point shots or more tonight. Can you go 40%? That's the big question mark. But also, waiting for later in the day, can we get a Peyton Pritchard number? Because the one thing we know, if it's a blowout scenario, Peyton Pritchard is launching in the second half here. So watch out for that as well here at the FanDuel Sportsbook.
Made 4 threes in game number 1. Will Jason Tatum wake up? I think so in this second game tonight. Hour 3 starts in just over 2 minutes.